Okay. Workshop number 2. Plato and
Epictetus?
Epictetus?
Wait,
Epictetus.
do we have to introduce ourselves? I feel like
Oh,
that's
yeah.
something she said.
Oh, yeah.
Alright. Oh, okay. I'm Frida.
I'm Kenna.
I'm Gio.
I'm Mia.
Alright, so let's just start with the first prompt and go from there. The first prompt says, what is Plato's allegory of the cave meant to convey about the difference between appearance and reality? And then what role does education play in helping us identify the differences between the two?
Okay.
I think that the shadows in the allegory are representing what appearance is. So the prisoners only saw the shadows because that's the only thing that appeared to them. They couldn't see like outside of the cave, obviously. And then once the prisoner did get outside of the cave, he was opened up to reality. Like, yeah, the sun, enlightenment.
Yeah.
I wonder what like political views were back there, because he was like pointing that out as like society is like the one in the cave, and then Plato like the philosopher or the guy that went outside of the cave like knew truth and tried to tell them, but then they were like, oh no, you're wrong, and then they would be like willing to kill anybody who went against them. That kind of sounds like things now, right?
I think that
Yeah.
because it's like trying to display ignorance, basically.
Yeah.
Like if you think that you know everything, but really they just knew the shadows, but they thought that was everything. So when he came in talking about all this stuff, they saw it was nonsense. But really they were just ignorant to like the reality of like there's more than just what they knew. Yeah.
So I feel like they're opposites. Sorry, cut you off.
No, you're good. Keep
Because
going.
like Plato's like, oh, ignorance is bad, like you don't know anything. And what was that, Epictetus? Anyways,
Epictetus.
Epictetus.
Epictetus. He was more like leaning toward ignorance to live a more peaceful life. In a way.
Yeah.
Kind of. Like he's not denying feelings. He's just saying like, oh, like I can't control this, so I'm not gonna worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. He was kind of like purposely being ignorant because he didn't want to like.
I feel like she would say
deal
no.
with other
Yeah.
Because she said that like it's not being ignorant, but like kind of like taking into consideration everything at the same time, so be like more into it, but just
That's true, I guess.
trying to like let this go.
I guess like a pista, whatever his name is, he knows like everything, but he's choosing to only focus on like one thing because that's all he can that's all he can control, even though he knows like
And
all of the reality.
his duties too,
Honestly,
right?
that's,
Yeah, his responsibilities.
I mean, have you guys ever been like through something that was like kind of traumatizing, like in a moment? Or no?
But then-
Because like it reminded me, because like recently my AC almost like caught on fire.
Your AC?
Yeah, like my central AC, and like the whole house smelled like smoke, and I was like literally shaking because I was scared, but I was trying to get like my cat out of the house.
Cat's number one priority.
Yeah, I grabbed my cat and my MacBook. I was like,
It's so real.
But yeah, but I feel like that's how I played it, because it's like you deal with like the rational first and then feel the emotion, like you kind of split it apart from the emotion.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think a pista, whatever his name is trying to get at like you have to
Epictetus.
Epictetus.
Epictetus. That's what she said.
There's one S in there.
Epictetus.
Epic.
That's what she said.
Okay, well, obviously he
Epictetus?
doesn't know proper spelling, so it's fine. No, just kidding.
I don't know. Do you guys have any takes on that?
I think
Which
that
part?
Huh?
What? Like on what?
I think that you're right. Because like like he said, like the
Yeah, like
rational
the split.
faculty comes first.
Yeah.
And then based off like what's rational, that's how you choose like which emotion you're gonna have. Instead of having like an irrational emotion.
Yeah.
does everyone achieve that? Like, can everyone do it, or is it just like?
I mean, yeah, but like
I
like
feel
you
like-
said, discipline. You know.
Mm-hmm. I
'Cause,
feel
like,
like.
I don't know. Oh, sorry.
Well,
continue.
No, you're good. I forgot what I was gonna say. I feel like it's like some humans can't do that. You know, like they can't.
It's hard.
It's hard, and they're just gonna base it mostly on emotion.
Well, also
Yeah.
in the class, like in the lecture, she was talking about how like it takes like decades to get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
Like you might like basically it's like a lifestyle. It's like learning how to not have emotions because like naturally you're gonna have them. I think that's like what it is. So it's like learning how to like put
It's
rationality
not
first.
to not have emotions, but to focus your emotion on things that you can control.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You have to learn like because people aren't like naturally rational. Like they are a little bit, but not like fully. So you have to like learn it first.
Yeah.
Okay. The next question. Oh wait.
Wait,
how
we
to
talk
answer
about
that.
what role does
Yeah.
education.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's basically what it's like. The prisoner coming out of the cave and into the like meadow or whatever
Mm-hmm.
was him like getting educated, and then the whole like he can't see anything, and then he could see shadows, and then he can see
I
reflections.
think the question's asking about us, no? Like how education is helping us because it's not talking about Play-Doh, it's asking like helping
Identify the
us.
difference.
Yeah, like
between the
how are we identifying the difference between appearance and reality? Right? Is that not what it's
Yeah.
asking? I feel like that's what it's asking us
We
to
can
like
go off that. Yeah.
I mean
Yeah.
that's the way I interpreted.
Do you have
What
a
do you
take on
think?
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean I feel like
What did you look at me for? I didn't say anything.
You were just like staring at me.
I'm looking at your detailed notes. They're good notes.
I know they are. I guess kind of what I was saying was, I guess like if you're relating education to like Play-Doh, it's kind of like education, it's not just like, sorry guys. You need self-discovery
Mm-hmm.
to help. Where I move from ignorance to enlightenment, which is like, you know, you guys know what I'm.
Yeah.
You guys know what I'm saying.
The way that they
No?
say it in the thing is like when they're talking about bringing the guy out of the thing, they say, suppose nature brought this state of affairs to an end, which is kind of saying like he says like nature is what is like the intervention between like ignorance and bliss, but I think what he's really meaning is like a revelation or like a like teaching or realizing something, like realizing like there's more to this or whatever, or someone coming and helping you realize it, like a teacher. It's like a like I don't know. I thought it was interesting that he used the word nature, but I guess it makes sense.
Next question.
Did we answer everything?
Yeah.
I feel like we did.
Okay, what did she do? Okay.
I feel like we kind of went into this one already a little bit. The second one.
Why is rational faculty special according to Epictetus, and how does it help us live well? Rational faculty. Oh yeah, we kind of covered that. Where it's like rational faculty is like
You was a good example of like there was like a fire, but like the first thing you weren't thinking was like, oh my god, I'm so nervous and I need to have an anxiety attack. You were like, the rational thing to do is to get my cat, to get my MacBook, and to leave, and then I can like after that I can be like, now that I'm out of the house, I don't even have to be like, I don't have to have the emotion of anxiety because I went through the whole thing, and then you can choose like.
right. I think that's what she was talking about. Like, what is like your duty or your place in that situation, and how can you like get through that?
Mm-hmm. Like what is in your control to do? Like the fire isn't in your control. Obviously, you can't put it out on your own, but you can like find the things that are in your control.
Mm-hmm.
The things you're supposed to like believe and that you don't have control, you're supposed to like let it go, right?
I think that's the harder one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What if it like can it affect you if you let it go?
I mean, it's kind of like the whole, well, in the way that I'm picturing it as like the forgiveness thing.
Mm-hmm.
People are like, oh, you need forgiveness to like get peace and whatever.
Mhm.
But it's like, okay, but like, what if that person doesn't deserve my forgiveness? Like, why would I let that go when that hasn't been justified?
True.
It's more of like a hypothetical. Like, hypothetically, it's better to let go of things you can't control, but it's just like I think personally that we have emotions that we can't control. So it's like, how can
you can't.
do that? But hypothetically, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like harder to do. But I guess they figured it out in BC, whatever.
Dig
200
into
BC.
discipline.
Okay.
How does it help us live well?
Well, I guess we kind of already went over. Like, it just helps us
I
not.
just want to like emphasize it.
Yeah.
Like, tranquility.
Yeah,
Key to
the good
living
life.
a virtuous and fulfilling life.
Yes.
Happiness.
Exactly.
Mhm.
That was like a more complex way of saying it, but that's what I wrote in my notes. You know.
Period.
Okay. Next question.
Where do you see overlap in the ideas and arguments of Plato and
Epictetus.
Epictetus? Bro, I give up. I give up.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
In my notes, I kind of was talking about both of them having like thoughts about nature of reality and like things similar to that. That's kind of all I wrote. I didn't really go into depth, but that's like something I like caught on to while reading both of them. I was like, wait, I feel like we were like just talking about this. So
Didn't you ask that question in class? Like about how it relates to. Oh, you said skepticism.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
was that today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because I thought they had like the similar goal of like tranquility and
Yeah.
what's the other one? I can't remember.
Quietude.
Quietude.
Oh,
Because like they're both searching for peace,
Right.
kind of, and that's what I
Yeah.
asked her. But like I feel like she was like talking more about like the principles of each other.
She said that they
Yeah.
both suspend judgment in a way, but for different reasons.
Yeah.
Right.
But in terms of, well, I'm not saying his name, Philosopher 2, I think they're similar because, wait, hold on.
Guys, we're only 12 minutes in and we're already almost done with like all the questions.
Okay, let's slow down, guys. Let's take a break. I think that both of them, like, for example, the Stoics, like, believe in having a good overall life by doing, like, the rigorous study, intense practice, self-examination. And Plato believed in that too. Like, he believed in self-examination and, like, study of philosophy. Obviously, he believed in living an examined life. So I think they're similar in that way. And then they also kind of, in a way, gave, like, a plan for happiness. Like, the Stoics is more of, like, their personal, like, overall good life, like that's like their personal thing. But Plato also believed in like if you are enlightened, enlightenment kind of is that the same thing as like tranquility, you know, like for the Stoics.
Okay.
I think. I don't really know.
I could see that. Because like he wasn't in the cave anymore, and he didn't go back.
Because
to,
he was like
argue with
searching
them.
for knowledge, you know.
Right, and then he just like kind of like hung out in nature.
Yeah.
Okay. I could see that.
Like he saw the truth, and they're saying that like the Stoics like use this to see the truth as well. Like this is like this, and Plato kind of believed this would help you see enlightenment or tranquility or a good life or happiness or quietude or whatever you want to call it. You know.
I think both of them like had like their own version of their process to like get to that. I feel like their end goal is kind of the same. Like Plato's was enlightenment, and then the other one was happiness, right? Like kind of like that. I feel like they both kind of like they're both similar, but the only thing that was like kind of different was like their process.
Mm-hmm.
to get to there. And what I don't like about like Plato's thing is like once someone reaches like knowledge, like let's say the cave whatever he was, prisoner, right? Let's say he reaches the knowledge, you know, he says he comes back, right? And like he tries to help others. Like what would happen if like he just decided not to go back, you know? And like he just like keeps it for himself and doesn't like enlighten anyone else.
Well, in a way, he'd be like in exile, right?
Yeah, he'd be alone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He probably would be lonely. But I think it did say that, like, would the prisoner, like, after leaving the cave, would he be resentful after it for being like, oh, like, now I'm not the same as my 3 other prisoners? Or, like, when he first got out of the cave and he was, like, blinded and he was, like, resentful because he's like, oh, I'm in pain or whatever. But the Plato in the thing said that they won't be resentful because of the fact that it's like their own personal, like it's their own individual journey. So like I guess teaching is a good thing, but I think they're just trying to say that like it's your own individual, it's like a choice to search for the knowledge. So if they don't want to search for it, they don't have to. Especially if he went back and was like asking them to and they actively like didn't want to.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but
Like-
he didn't have the choice. He was just kind of like pulled out from the cave.
Right.
But it's like a choice for the rest of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because that's what she brought up too, like a teacher or like philosopher's job was to be like open the door,
Mm-hmm.
and then whoever wants to can follow that.
It's interesting that you bring that up because yeah, he didn't have a choice.
Mhm.
Yeah, he didn't. That's what they said at first, like wouldn't he like resent that? But then at the end they said, oh, he wouldn't like be jealous of the people in the cave anymore because he just wouldn't relate to them anymore.
Yeah, I think that they're saying that it doesn't matter if he had a choice because in the end, like he was enlightened. I guess
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know. Okay.
Was there anywhere like overlap? Something else they had in common?
Oh, wait, hold on. I know something.
It could be like education. That could be one. They both like stress the importance of education,
Yeah, that's true.
like abroad.
Do you have like a quote for Epictetus? On that?
Did I need a quote?
No, I'm just asking if you did.
No.
No?
But I guess for Plato it was more like self-discovery.
Mm-hmm.
And then like Epictetus it was more for living like a virtuous life.
Okay. That's right.
There was something metaphysical, like about like the gods and stuff that they both believe was similar, but like I forget the Stoic name for it, but the forms, like Plato believing in like forms, like everything has like a higher form of it. I think that there was something similar that Stoics believe. but I can't think of what it was because I didn't write it down. But now I'm mad because there was something that I was like, oh, this is similar to.
Okay, the question is, what did you find most interesting or surprising about the argument from Plato and from Epictetus?
For Plato, I really liked his, like, the story that he told, you know what I'm saying? Like his, how do you say it? Allegory?
Yeah, the
Allegory.
allegory.
Because I felt like it made it so much easier to understand, like, the whole story and how he, like, used that one example from the start to the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As of, like, the other guy,
Epictetus.
Epictetus, it was hard to understand because, like, his, like, I understood his, like, kind of used, but like I didn't really get some of his examples, like the brother one, or like
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel like his requires, like, at least for me, I feel like it requires a lot more thinking. And I think when she showed us like the video from Play-Doh, I feel like that's when I really started to like understand, because I'm like definitely like a visual learner. So I feel like it was definitely easier for me, and I think I liked it better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree too. I liked Plato's better because it was simpler, one, and also like the Stoic one kind of seemed more like not relatable, you know? Like the Plato one is like, oh, like, yeah, we can, like, we have the ability to like go from ignorance to enlightenment, but like for the other one, like the idea of like withholding your emotions and then like choosing which emotion you have just like feels like impossible to me.
Right. Yeah.
I did the opposite. I didn't relate as much to like Play-Doh.
Really?
Yeah, because it's like it's kind of just like the
Sorry.
I don't know, like it's just like the journey to like education, but it wasn't like relatable to me. It was just kind of like there. And then for Epictetus, or whatever. I feel like his was more like a clear vision of like what to like strive or achieve or like try to get to, which is like to be like more nonchalant about conflicts that you can't control.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I feel like I'm repeating the same thing.
How do we have 8 more minutes?
I understand where you're coming from. I think I just liked Play-Doh more because it was like easier to understand. So I feel like, I don't know, I feel like just because it was easier, I was like, okay, I like it more. Just because it's like, I felt like I just like understood it, and like, you know?
Yeah.
I think if she used, oh sorry.
No, you're good. You're good.
I think if she used a different text than the one that she used for the Stoics, I think it would have been easier to understand. But like, I think the text that she used was a little bit confusing, like especially since we didn't know like anything prior about Stoics before that.
Yeah.
So I think the text for the Plato one was just overall like easier to understand than the Epictetus. But I see what you mean, that like there was more like, it was more like instructional. The second one, the Stoics one, was more instructional, which was like, I guess in a way simpler, but then the other one was just like visual. So I don't know. I like both, to be honest, the more I think about it.
Next question?
The only other question is the text one,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Do you guys want to say anything?
What was it?
What other aspects of the text would you like to discuss, and why? It's like, what else
Let me look at my notes for
do you
this.
guys want to talk about?
Did you guys understand the brother?
No, I had such a difficult
Yeah.
time understanding it and like trying to
think-
wrap my head around it.
I like how that she explained it, but I
Yeah.
didn't understand it with the text.
Yeah,
Right,
You know?
yeah.
That's how I felt too.
Then it's like, yes, I can't
God damn.
manipulate somebody to not be upset with me anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, that's debatable, right? But like,
Well, my question was like, how, like, objectively, is there like a definition of what's in your control versus what's not in your control? Because like it's easy to decide what's not in your control, but like I feel like you can argue like that something's in your control. Like, you know, I feel like you could argue for it. Like, even if like someone would say like, oh,
It's
that's
not.
not in your control. Like you could be like, well, yeah, it is. Like I'm trying to think of an example. But like, or just like the fact that you, even if you don't directly like do something, your emotions, like the way you react, affects other people.
Yeah.
And I feel like they kind of had no like responsibility for that whatsoever. Like the fact that like, even though you're choosing to do an emotion, like the fact that it affects other people, I feel like they just kind of like got rid of that
Yeah.
whole thing, and we're like, well, it doesn't really matter because it's not in your control. But it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think it more relates to like, when was it made? Like BC, something like that. Like
Which
the
one?
when they talked about the second article.
Stoicism is a Roman belief.
Roman. Yeah, I feel like it kind of relates to modern now, like to now, but like at the same time, like I feel like now it's people are more based on like emotions. you know,
Yeah.
like emotions is a big thing on people's thing. So it kind of like, it's different, you know, like
Yeah.
it doesn't really.
I wish that we got more context, like
Yeah.
before we read it, so that we knew like the time period and like what the people believed at the time.
Right.
Because she was saying like, oh, that question doesn't necessarily line up with the belief they had at the time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But she didn't really explain the belief that they had at
Yeah.
the time.
Yeah.
Like she did a little bit, but I don't know. I don't know. We have 4 more minutes.
Okay, what else did you guys not get? Did you guys get how should we struggle with circumstances?
What?
Chapter 24. It was like the last chapter of Epictetus?
Yeah.
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 So what was your question?
Do you guys like understand like what he's trying to say? Cause like he like
I get it. I think he is saying like, so he says, in my opinion, no man has had a more profitable difficulty than you have had if you choose to make use of it as an athlete would deal with a young antagonist. So he's saying like, well, he did like a whole like analogy before that about like
Right.
being a athlete, but I think what he's trying to say he's trying to say that like you're always gonna struggle, you know, like I'm trying to think of the right word.
I got the impression of like you're gonna struggle, but it's like more of what you do with that struggle. Like,
Yeah.
do you get stronger or like,
Yeah.
you know, like what do you do with that? I think that's what he was saying. Like with the struggle, you may become an Olympic conqueror.
He's basically saying that it's like about your choice. Like he's saying that like you're gonna be put forth with like bad circumstances, but like and it's gonna be difficult, and that's not a question, but it's just like, are you gonna be like a coward about it, or are you gonna like actually do something about it?
Oh, that's when he uses like his because in the end he's like one of the last sentences he says is like it's like being a kid. Like if you say I will play no longer, then you could just say out and be gone. You know what I'm saying? Like if you don't want to play, you could just be gone. But if you stay, like you choose to like I guess like suffer, like not like or go into that, you shouldn't complain about it because it's your choice. You know what I'm saying? So I guess I get that.
Yeah, I guess it's
think,
saying like
yeah.
you can never complain about anything because in the end it's your choice.
Okay.
And like if you choose to complain about circumstances that are out of your control, then you're not going to be happy. So you can't do that.
I understand that.
I think that's good. Any closing thoughts? It's almost 10 minutes.
It has to be 11 now, because it was 19.
Yeah.
Do you guys understand the divided line? That
Yeah.
she's.
I mean,
I like understood a bit of it, and then I'm gonna be honest, I stopped paying attention.
I
And
feel
I
like
forgot.
I feel like if she would say like, how does this like, if she was like talking about the, what's it called, analogy of the divided line or whatever.
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel like if she like gave us like a topic and was like, I need you to like categorize it like this, then I feel like I would have like
I better.
maybe. I just feel like I feel like she was like, do you guys understand this? But not everyone's gonna raise their hand and be like, can you explain like everything to me in like simple terms? So I guess for me,
Right.
like it made sense when she was talking about it, but like now that I'm looking back, I'm like maybe I don't really understand because I used it in my notes. I don't even know which question, but I used it, and then I was kind of like, do I really like understand like what it was like about?
I think I understand the metaphysics part of it, but this is like I don't.
Yeah.
I understood this except for like the forms, because how is like an actual koala not the form? You know.
Critical thinking.
I think it's like
Because, like, I understand, like,
Yeah.
the shadow, the object, and then the object could be harmed in some way, so it's, don't know for sure if it's the whole object. So then the idea of it is, like, the reality. But then what is the form?
I think it's saying that like the koala is a koala, but or like another example, like this water bottle is a water bottle, and I could say this is a water bottle, and you could look at it and it's an object water bottle, but it really could have Sprite in it,
Yeah.
so it's not a water bottle. So like I think that's that, but then like once you get to the concepts, it's like water bottleness is like a set like I can't think of like the word. Like I understand it in my head, but I can't think of the word. It's like a like think in your head of a water bottle. But if it didn't exist yet, then that's the concept of it, you know? It's like what you had thought in your head.
Oh,
like you can think things in your head even if they aren't real. Like the vampire thing that she was saying.
Yeah.
Like you can think about a vampire. Obviously a vampire doesn't exist as an object because it's not real. But it's just like a thing. And then the form is just like only just like a little bit of a step higher than that. It's like it's not really a thing. Like a form, it's not a thing. It's not like like when we think of form, we think of like a thing. It's not a thing. It's just like more of a complex version of a concept, if that makes sense.